Someone on your team said you need a new CRM. Maybe it came from a salesperson. Maybe it came from a consultant. Or maybe you read something online. Maybe you have simply watched leads fall through the cracks long enough that you finally decided to do something about it. Then you start researching. HubSpot, Salesforce, Zoho, Pipedrive, Fresh Sales. Every system has a pricing page, a feature matrix, and a promise. But here's the real question. Not which CRM has the best features. Which CRM fits your team, your process, and your organization right now? That is the question most organizations skip. And it's the question that keeps them from making another expensive technology mistake.
Welcome to End Business Tech Frustration, the podcast for small and mid-sized business leaders and entrepreneurs who are struggling with technology that is not meeting their business needs. I'm Jim Kineon, and for more than 35 years, I've helped businesses fix their tech, align their people and processes, and implement systems that actually work. In each episode, I break down real stories, practical strategies, and simple frameworks that help you choose the right tools, roll them out the right way, and build a business that runs smoothly. If your technology isn't supporting your business and delivering the results that you need, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
Okay, let's start off with what CRM actually is and why it matters. CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, and its purpose is to manage the life cycle of a customer relationship, from prospect through a mature customer. So a CRM should answer the following questions. Who are our leads and customers, as well as the background information around them? What stage is each opportunity in, so that we can follow up? Who needs follow-up? And what is that follow-up? What was promised to the customer? What activities are producing revenue, so that we can analyze that and determine what to pursue and what not to pursue? Where are deals getting stuck? So without a CRM, those answers often live on spreadsheets, inboxes, sticky notes, and people's heads. So the key takeaway here is a CRM becomes valuable when the business has repeatable sales, reoccurring customer communications, multiple people touching the customer, and more than a few active prospects at a given time. So let me make this real. I worked with a company that installed, serviced, and monitored fire and security equipment, and they were upgrading their current CRM system, which was effectively capturing prospective customer interest. It nurtured and tracked them through the process of converting them to customers. And they wanted to move to a new CRM that integrated their sales system, their service system, so that when they looked at the customer record, they could see the complete record from end to end. They could see the contact information, all the communications behind that customer, the customer history of the installed equipment, as well as the service requests, any type of current service requests that the customer had, and the current status of those, as well as the customer contract outlining what the sales agreement and service level agreements were with that customer. So they were looking for a much more comprehensive, robust CRM system. So as you consider a CRM system, you can break it down into the core functionality and the extras. Some of the core functionality are contact and company records, a central place for customers and prospect information. You want to have deal and opportunity pipeline tracking, something that shows where the prospect stands in your sales process. Task and reminders, so that you can keep track of follow-ups and they don't fall through the cracks. You want to have email and calendar integration so that any type of sales activities connect directly with the customer records. You want notes and activity history so that you can get the full context of a relationship and that it's visible to the whole team. You want basic reporting so that you can see pipeline value, conversion rates, activity volume. You want user permission management so that you can control who sees and edits what information. So the key idea here is that if a system doesn't do these things reliably, it's not a real CRM. It's just a contact list. Some of the extras, some of that additional functionality are things like automation, where you have lead assignments, follow-up reminders, and workflow triggers that are all integrated as part of the automation. It could include advanced dashboards and forecasting. It could include marketing tools like email campaigns, forms, and lead scoring. It could have customer service tools like ticketing and satisfaction tracking. It could have AI features that integrate with email drafting, predictive lead scoring, deal insights. And then from an integration standpoint, it could integrate with your accounting and billing, your quoting, support, your marketing, all of these different types of systems that you have outside of your CRM. One thing to keep in mind, additional functionality is not automatically better. The question is not what the system can do. The question is what your team will actually do with that system. Now let's consider how you choose the right CRM for your organization. And when you think about this, consider that your CRM selection is not a one-size-fits-all. The way you should consider approaching this decision changes significantly based upon the size of your organization. Think about the team size that's going to be using the system. Think about how mature your sales processes are. Are they clear? Or are you still working them out? Think about the adoption capacity. So can your team use it on a daily basis, or are they using it infrequently? Think about support. Who owns the system after launch? Think about criticality. If something breaks, what is the impact on your organization? I want to walk you through 3 size ranges of organizations: 1 to 20 employees, 26 to 100, and 100 to 250. And each one, we're going to take a look at what types of things you should look for, what types of things you should avoid as you're going through the buying process, and which systems tend to be best for that type of fit. As I go through these organizations of different sizes and thinking about the different criteria, continue to ask yourself which of these would fit best for my needs. So let's start off with the type of CRM system that an organization with 1 to 25 employees needs. At this size, the CRM success depends on simplicity and adoption. You have a small number of people in your organization that end up wearing multiple hats. They need a CRM system that is easy to use and that doesn't require a specialized administrator. You need a system that is relatively intuitive to use. So you should look for things like easy contact and deal management, simple pipeline views. You don't need a lot of complexity. Email and calendar synchronization. It doesn't have to be complicated. Mobile access is nice. Reminders and tasks. Again, something simple. Basic reporting. Nothing very complicated. Something that's going to have a fast setup, probably needs a low cost, and something that allows you to have clean spreadsheet imports. Some of the things, therefore, that you want to avoid are CRM systems that require heavy or a lot of configuration. Systems that have complex automation, because you just don't need it usually at that size. Systems that require a dedicated administrator, which is another person that you need to hire and train up. You want to avoid things that have advanced features that the team isn't going to use until you grow. You want to avoid tools that create too much friction within the team. So if it's going to require a lot of training or ramp up, it's not going to be easy to remember. You want to avoid those types of things. What's kind of key here is that the hidden cost of a complex CRM system is not just the subscription, it's the time that's spent figuring it out and the workarounds that people create because they don't know or can't remember how to use it. So you want to focus on something that's going to provide quick and easy adoption. As you think about an organization with 1 to 25 employees that's implementing CRM, some of the other considerations you want to have are around the implementation and some of the criticality. So, for example, for an organization this size, usually one organized person should be able to manage the implementation. They should be able to take a clean spreadsheet and upload it, import contacts, set up pipeline stages, train the team, and create basic reports. Usually outside help isn't needed. It can be useful, but it's not needed unless the data isn't clean. When you consider the criticality, usually for an organization this size, downtime is inconvenient, but it's not catastrophic. Now, if you use your CRM for quoting, dispatch, customer service, then it becomes more of an issue when you have downtime. CRM systems that work well for an organization this size are things like HubSpot CRM, Pipedrive, Zoho CRM, or Begin by Zoho. So, as we take a look at an organization that is somewhere between 26 and 100 employees, CRM systems for an organization this size, they need to focus on something that's going to be shared between sales, marketing, account management, sometimes customer service. So, with that, they want to look at things that have multiple pipeline management, that have better role permissions and definitions and groupings of that. They want to have reporting not only by the sales rep, but also at a team level and then overall for all of teams themselves. Workflow automation becomes important. Integration with accounting, marketing, quoting, support, and billing systems becomes more important. Data quality controls are important so that there's consistency and so that you can have better reporting results. Usually, strong vendor support is also necessary. Some of the things you may want to avoid are choosing a CRM that works just for the sales manager, but not for the sales team, because the sales team are the ones that need to adopt it, and they need to be putting the data in so that the sales manager can manage that. Avoid over-customization before a specific process is clear. So if you don't have a clean sales process or part of your sales process isn't clean, don't try to automate it. Don't try to customize it. Wait until you've worked it out. Other things to avoid, not assigning a CRM owner. So you really want one person who is accountable for maintaining the data, making sure it's clean, and that the system is functioning. You also want to avoid assuming automation will fix an unclear sales process. It won't. Automation will amplify your processes, whether they're good processes or bad processes. So some implementation considerations and criticality for organizations this size: they need a named CRM administrator who can manage the day-to-day of the CRM system. This can't be an informal process. This has to be a named person who is responsible and has ownership over the CRM, and if there's a problem, they're the one that resolves it. Your organization needs a CRM that's going to support sales leadership involvement in the sales process. They need documented pipeline stages, so they need something that's clear. They need the ability to customize fields so that they can fine-tune the CRM system to align with their sales and reporting needs. And they need a real training plan. These CRM systems are more complicated, and it's not something that's usually intuitive for somebody to learn. So if we take a look at the criticality, downtime for an organization this size can affect sales follow-up, quoting, management visibility, and customer handoffs. So it has an impact. If your CRM connects to web forms or email campaigns, an outage can affect revenue operations. That's not something to find out when it happens. That's something to plan for ahead of time. Some examples of CRM systems that support organizations this size are HubSpot CRM, as well as Sales Hub functionality. Zoho CRM, Freshsales. When we move on to the third size organization, from 101 to 250 employees, these organizations need to have a CRM system that is part of their core business system. It affects the revenue forecasting, customer management, sales operations, marketing support, reporting, leadership visibility. So it's really critical to operations. So you want to look for CRM systems that have clear, robust, role-based permissions, that have advanced reporting and dashboards that can be customized, that have robust forecasting, that have workflow automation, they have lead routing, territory management. These CRM systems need to integrate with ERP systems, accounting, marketing, support, and quoting systems. They need to have strong API capability so that they can connect to these other systems. They need formal audit logs and security controls. You definitely need to have a sandbox so you can test out the functionality and your processes before deploying it in your live system. And you need to have vendor and partner support, which when you've got questions or you've got some type of an outage, they can quickly respond. Things that you want to avoid are choosing a lightweight CRM system that can't handle multiple teams or multiple reporting. You want to avoid choosing an enterprise CRM system if you don't have internal admin capacity. You want to avoid treating your CRM as a sales-only tool because it needs to be integrated with all of these other operations. So you need to view it in that context. You want to avoid failing to assign ownership until after go live. You need to have that plan in place so that after you go live with the CRM system, there's a clear process as who maintains this, who makes updates as new functionality comes in, who is going to evaluate that functionality as processes change, how that gets updated. You need to have a formal sustainment plan. You want to avoid relying entirely on your implementation partner. You need to develop the knowledge of how to use that system and configure it within your own organization. So as you consider this, think about implementation is not the hard part. The ongoing ownership is the hard part because you want to maintain the adoption, you want to maintain and continue to get the results and the benefits that you're looking for from that system. When you consider a CRM system for an organization of this size, one person cannot manage everything. So you need to have a CRM administrator, but you need to be able to share some of those responsibilities so that sales and operations and revenue operations also have ownership of their pieces. You need an executive sponsor. You need department managers who are involved and supporting the effort to ensure that people understand the importance and are working towards the adoption and the benefits of using the system. You need a formal training plan, a data migration strategy. You need an integration plan for these other systems that are going to need to interact with your CRM system. You probably need a change management plan, and you're going to need usually an outside implementation partner that has experience in these areas. When you consider criticality for a CRM system to support your organization of this size, downtime can directly affect quoting, lead routing, renewals, account management, revenue forecasting, revenue operations. So some of the CRM systems that support organizations well of this size are things like Salesforce Sales Cloud, HubSpot CRM, Zoho CRM Plus, or Zoho One. Before we wrap up, ask yourself, are you actually ready for upgrading your CRM system? Some organizations are not ready to upgrade it yet. And it's not because the CRM is wrong for them. It's because the foundation elements are not in place yet. Some of the signs that they might not be ready to upgrade are if their sales processes are not defined, if nobody owns the customer data quality, if leadership will not enforce usage, if the organization is trying to automate processes that just aren't clear, if the team does not agree on the different pipeline stages, if data is messy or inconsistent, if follow-up expectations aren't clear, if you don't have clear processes. So the first thing that you want to do is simplify your processes and your data. You want to define your pipeline stages. You can define it on a whiteboard to map it out. You want to clean the data in the spreadsheet so that you don't have messy data. You want to build the discipline before you buy the software. So the discipline around what your processes are and what the handoffs are. A basic spreadsheet with clear stages and consistent follow-up will beat a CRM system that nobody's using. Here are some questions to ask yourself as you're evaluating whether you want to stay with your current CRM system, if you need to replace it or you need to expand it. So ask yourself, does your team actually use the current system, or are they working around it, and why? Does the system fit the size and pace of your organization, or is it sized for a company you haven't become yet, so it's too complicated? Do you have a single, complete, reliable view of your customer relationships, or is that information scattered across multiple platforms and in people's heads? Do you have someone internally who owns the CRM system so that they can be responsible for the data quality, the training, the vendor escalation, things of that nature? Have you accounted for the full cost, not just the license, but the time, the migration, the training, and any type of friction that you have to work out? And if something went wrong with the system tomorrow, do you know exactly what would happen to your business and what to do about it? One final takeaway. The right CRM doesn't have to feel impressive on day 1. It should feel useful, though, on day 90. It should help your team follow up, keep customer information clear, reduce workarounds, and give leadership better visibility. The goal is not to have the most advanced platform. The goal is the right fit. The one your team will actually use, the one your business can support, and the one that helps your organization run more smoothly.
Thanks for listening to End Business Tech Frustration. If you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe or follow the show so that you never miss an insight. And if your business is struggling with technology that doesn't support your goals, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear how technology is impacting your business, whether it's good, bad, or just downright painful. Remember, your technology should empower your people, strengthen your processes, and make your business thrive. If it's not doing that, I'm here to help you get your tech right and to get real value from it. See you in the next episode.